the revitalization plan for CPS has been out for some time. Why are you holding this seminar today?
Well, the plan has only been released to the public without any discussion so far. The Jockey Club came out, they did a press conference, they put the model in the exhibition, and we've contacted the Jockey Club to make sure that they could start a debate. But because everybody's from all over the world, it took a time to get the date organized to make sure that everybody was together and could be here to have a conversation in public. So today was the first time everybody could be together.
We heard a lot of voices during the question and answer time session, and some people from within the Central and Western District have expressed their anger or anxiety over the plan, because they feel that the plan will cause some sort of nuisances to the nearby neighborhood, and the Central and Western District Council hasn't taken those concerns fully into account. Do you think it's just another typical failure of public consultation this time around?
No, I don't think so. I think that the Jockey Club has to have a conversation with the neighborhood. But it is a very, very noisy neighborhood. Staunton Street, Elgin Street, Kane Road. I mean, very heavy traffic, lots of bars and so on. So people have a lot of noise. And the Central Police Station is very quiet. So the question is, the correct question to ask to the Jockey Club, who's going to operate it, is it going to create more noise? And it doesn't have to create more noise. I mean, most of the sound is inside. So the question is then, okay, operating hours for the outdoor spaces, when do you have to stop? I think those questions the Jockey Club can answer. I don't think that there is a big concern. But this was, as I said before, this is the first time that everybody could sit together and have a conversation about the details. So of course, this is a big project. There will be a lot of questions today, and there will be many, many, many questions in the future. So the Jockey Club has to find a way of having an ongoing debate with the community so that they can hear the comments and give response. So people don't get anxious about it. People, okay, they understand the answer. So then people will move on.
Another issue which has been dominating in the question and answer time session is the promotion of art and culture. Some critics say the plan local artists have been marginalized in this project. What do you think? What do you make of that?
Well, I think in a way the confusion was David Elliott's presentation. That was very, very international. He definitely mentioned local artists, but he mentioned artists from all over the world. So if you combine all of those together in a presentation, then automatically Hong Kong looks a bit small, because then he talks about Japanese artists and Chinese artists and Asian artists and European artists. He talks about Russian artists and American artists. So once that whole list is completed, of course, it appears as if Hong Kong has a small part to play, and the audience is all Hong Kong. So they want to hear more about local artists. So I think there is a communication issue. The end game, what it really comes down to is who's going to be in charge? Who's going to be the curator? How much money do they have? How can they operate the space? Those details are not clear yet. And that's why today is very good, because then people say, hey, listen, this is important. How are you going to resolve it?
But the Hong Kong Jockey Club is pretty reluctant to fund this project, especially the art project, because the representative from the Hong Kong Jockey Club has made it clear that it's not a body to fund art program, but some critics in the question and answer time session have strong anticipation about the project, saying they hope the promotion of art and culture will be vitalized in this project. Is it just what exactly the occasions are, as we already know that the Western Kowloon District project is also about promoting arts and culture in Hong Kong. Are they losing? Is it necessary mean that they are losing faith with that project, so they come here and hope the Hong Kong Jockey Club to do something more about it?
I think that on the funding side, which is the big question, of course, how they're going to go forward with funding, this is going to need an arts foundation. The Jockey Club will set up a Central Police Station arts foundation. The funding for that they hope to get from many different people, not only from the Jockey Club. The Jockey Club does not want to pay every year for the operating expenses. They may well be interested to do an endowment, do a one-off payment to a foundation to kickstart them, and then make sure that they can operate on their own. So I'm not too anxious about that. What the Jockey Club says is we're not going to pay every year to close the budget. Now, that's fair enough, no recurring expenses, but they may do an endowment, but they want to get lots of different people involved. In terms of that, how you're going to spend it, what artists do you pay for, who can use the in-residence spaces, that's about programming. Then you talk about setting up your authority, your foundation that manages the area, about who you're going to hire as the CEO, what are your rules and regulations for renting out, for bringing in art. Now that, the discussion is just starting today, so I'm not worried about it. Those are good questions, but we don't have to be worried about that. Those are good questions and there will be good answers, I'm sure. And if there are bad answers, I know that Hong Kong will be very sharp. They will criticize very quickly if the answers are bad, so I'm not worried about it for now.
Today's panel is driven by mainly Westerners, and we all know that Hong Kong is a cosmopolitan city with is a multicultural society, and despite and most people living in Hong Kong are local Chinese, and that's same apply to Central and Western District. Do you think today's seminar is out of touch? Because some critics say the panel is driven by Westerners and is fully conducted in English. No local Chinese could fully understand what's actually going on. What more will you do to ease those concerns?
Well, first of all, it's not my job, but it's the Jockey Club job to do that. City Speak is an English language open forum, so therefore English is spoken. You know, there's no deny. So if the Jockey Club, from here on, I'm sure they will organize other events where the language will be Cantonese, and then I'm sure that the local architect of Herzog will be the one who's going to be speaking. You know, so I'm not so worried about it. Then from the Jockey Club side, it won't be Mike, but his colleagues will be speaking. It is the choice of the events. Our City Speak is an English language open forum, and that has somewhat predetermined. But of course, the Jockey Club has brought in lots of international talent to help out with this project. And to be honest, I think that's not a bad idea, to get the best ideas from around the world to give you input. In the end of the day, when we own the project, Hong Kong will own the project, for sure. And it will be owned by Hong Kong people, and it will be run by Hong Kong people, and the stewards are Hong Kong people of the Jockey Club. So I'm not so worried about that. But to get it started, it is very good to get an international perspective. People that don't live in this city, looking at it very brand new and say, guys, what can you do with this asset? I think it's good. There's no politics involved for people coming from the outside. They're coming with a fresh view. You know, I think that's better than having a local who maybe has connections, who maybe already has a predetermined idea. So a fresh look, I'm not too worried about it, but of course the Jockey Club has to spend more time talking with the community.